very much for having me. Salam, I'm Matthew Harrison-Harvey and I'm the Chief External Affairs and Regulatory Officer for Safaricom Ethiopia. Ethiopia has a very long history. Our shareholders have been interested in investing in Ethiopia for not as long, but for at least the last 10 years. And we've been regularly talking to the different governments over that period. And then about 3 years ago, the government decided they wished to liberalise the telecommunications sector. By liberalise means issuing, you have one telecoms licence now, which is ETHIO Telecom, and you're now going to have a second one. So we will now be a choice between ETHIO Telecom and Safaricom Ethiopia. So that process started about 3 years ago, and the government commenced what they called a licence request for proposals, and we decided to participate in that process. It was a very well-run process by the government, and we formed a consortium. Our consortium has the following shareholders, what we call the Voda family. I'm from Vodafone Group, which is headquartered in London. It's the largest telecoms operator in Europe and also the largest in Africa. And through M-Pesa, it's the largest digital fintech company in Africa as well. So Vodafone has two main companies in Africa. Safaricom, which is a long-term partnership between the government of Kenya and Vodafone Group, headquartered in Kenya. Safaricom is now the majority shareholder in Safaricom Ethiopia, so we will be Safaricom Ethiopia. Our brand will be Safaricom, and we'll be providing services as Safaricom Ethiopia. The other company is Vodafone Group, which is headquartered in South Africa and covers 8 markets across the African continent. They are our main shareholders, but it's also a partnership between Vodafone, and initially it's the South African government. That's changed. We're now a listed company in South Africa. Then we have 2 more shareholders. One is Sumitomo. It's a Japanese conglomerate, over 400 years old, investor in Ethiopia, investor in many other countries, and they are one of our shareholders. And then last but not least is CDC, which is the UK government's financial investment arm in sustainable development, and they're a shareholder. So the consortium came together for this opportunity, the opportunity to contribute to the digital transformation and digital inclusion for all Ethiopians. And it's one of the last countries in the world that is now going through this process. And because it's such an important country, over 110 million people, our shareholders wanted to be part of this. Firstly, we were inspired by the macroeconomic strategy of the government, which saw telecoms as a key socio-economic sector that contributes to the growth of the country economically and socially, and to help improve people's lives. You have the Digital Ethiopia Strategy 2025, and then you have the new Communications Proclamation that was 2019. So that sets out all the objectives for us and ETHIO Telecom and any other company that will come into the country. And it's really focused on the economic, social transformation of the country. Digital can do that in many ways. If I was speaking to you maybe 15 years ago, I would have talked about voice communications and maybe SMS. But now what we talk about is yes, we'll provide communication services, we'll provide access to the internet, but it's what you can do with that. So it's working in partnership with the Ministry of Education on digital education. so that children, teachers can use digital tools to help with education. It's healthcare. It's working with the Ministry of Health to bring digital tools to help healthcare. A great example of this is during the pandemic. Vodafone, Vodacom and Safaricom have a partnership with the AUC NEPAD on supply chain for COVID vaccinations. It's also about entrepreneurs, and one of the things that excites me about Ethiopia is the entrepreneur community. In particular, agriculture, which is one of the biggest employers in the country. And through our services, we'll be able to provide digital tools to help them with their businesses. If we're granted the mobile financial services license, which I'm sure we'll come on to later, we'll be able to provide M-Pesa. And M-Pesa is the largest digital fintech service on the continent. And it really transforms financial inclusion for all people. So these services, it really has the opportunity to help people with their lives, connect them with their loved ones, help them with their businesses, and also improve public services as well through e-government and other similar services. Our license says that we had 9 months from the date of our license. So 9 months is the 9th of April this year. So that's the date we're working towards commercial launch. The license also sets out a schedule on rolling out the infrastructure and service, because it's a long-term investment. This is a license which has a 15-year duration, which can then be extended another 15 years. So we will be working towards ensuring that we launch with quality and that we're providing increased investment in services, in infrastructure for all of the country over the duration of our license. So currently we're waiting for the government. So mobile financial services was not part of the Telecom's license tender, and the Prime Minister, I think it was in May 2021, essentially said that they would look to open up the mobile financial services sector to foreign-owned operators within 12 months. So we're waiting for the government to confirm that, and then once they do, we'll obviously be applying for that license and then working from there. Technically, there's a directive that restricts foreign ownership of mobile financial services companies, so the government and the MBE have to amend that directive. Once they do that, then we'll commence the process to apply for the license. Yes, we're actually next door to the building. We haven't bought it; it's a lease. We've leased it for a number of years. That's going to be our home. It's going to be our headquarters for our staff. We're also increasingly taking other buildings. So we have the data center, our first data center that's now being built and is getting ready. We'll be also our call center. We're in the process of finalising the location for our first call center in Addis. In due course, we'll be looking to have call centers in different parts of the country as well. But we'll start with Addis first, and then we'll be opening up stores, shops, throughout the country. So we'll be looking to do that as well. So one of the things we don't have is legacy. So we don't have old infrastructure. So everything we're doing now is world class at this moment in time. So the data center that we have is a world class data center. Actually, the network that we're building, the services we're building, it's all going to be world class. because, as I said, we don't have the legacy of having done this for a few years. What we're now taking is the best technology, the best IT and best services to bring to Ethiopia. So we're in the process of rolling out our network, so mobile towers. So we're in the process of currently we've done a lot of surveys of land. We're now talking to landowners, the government, federal government, regional governments, and then we're going through the planning and build approval processes to build our towers. So we'll be building towers, the mobile towers for our network. As I said earlier, we'll be having a call centre. We'll be having retail stores, distribution points. Some will be leased, some will be owned, some will be in partnerships with other parties. So this year, since July, we've actually invested $1 billion. That's partly the license fee, and we're now investing $300 million on equipment that is now being brought into the country through importation and customs process. So that's for our commercial launch. We will be investing similar amounts every year because our network, as I said earlier, it takes time to roll out infrastructure throughout the country. ETHIO Telecom have been doing it for 120 years. We're in year 1, so it'll take a while for us to catch up with them. But yeah, so essentially we'll be investing every year a similar amount in the products and services, the infrastructure to ensure that customers have a quality service that they need. We have two network vendors, NOKIA. They're focusing on the core network infrastructure, and ETHIO and the surrounding areas, and then HUAWEI will be covering the rest of the country. I'd love to talk about the opportunities. Yeah, the opportunity. So you're right. Our shareholders have committed $8.5 billion over 10 years. I think that's probably one of the most significant investments in the country. Secondly, the opportunity to really help improve people's lives, and that's really what we're focusing on through digital transformation, digital inclusion. We estimate that there will be a significant impact on the country's economic development. So over 10 years, around 6% increase on GDP from the decision that the government introduced to introduce a new telecoms license. Also, we see the potential of creating jobs. So we did a study, our shareholders did a study as we were preparing the bid, and in 10 years the estimate is that the sector will create around 1 million jobs in 10 years. Not just direct jobs, it's a smaller number, but it's the whole ecosystem, the ICT value chain. So 1 million to 1.5 million jobs in 10 years. It's the services that we provide to really help improve life. So for us, that's what inspires us, that's what gets us out of bed every day, is really that mission to really help transform people's lives. In terms of obstacles, I think the word was, I think first off, the government have been really supportive. Because they are absolutely committed to this project of us being brought into the country, promoting investment into the country, and what the services can deliver for the people of the country, throughout the country. So they've been really supportive in a number of ways to help us start up. and there's a lot that you need to do to start up, whether it's bringing equipment in, building the equipment, getting all the approvals for the equipment, recruiting people, developing people, working in partnerships with suppliers and vendors and other parties. So there's a lot that we are doing in order to start, and there's going to be a lot that we'll be doing over the next 15, hopefully 30 years. With startup, and I've done a startup before, there's a lot to do, and particularly because a lot of the laws, the regulations, the processes, the administrative processes, they're not used to having a second telecoms operator. They're used to having one government entity, and so what that means is that's a lot of change for everyone. And what we're working with the government on, the Ethiopian Communications Authority and other parties, is to help shape that. So we're shaping the change. So there's a new law that needs to be implemented. So we're working with the ECA on implementing that law. Importation. Lots of people said importation can take time here. And so what we're working with the government is, if there's things we learn together, is how can we improve the process, not just for ourselves, but for other importers of equipment into the country. So we're learning all the time, we're working together, and I really believe the things we're working towards will help the country. If you're talking about being able to call internationally to other countries, and also when you go on, whether it's on holiday or whether you're travelling to other countries, yes, you'll be able to what we call international roaming on other networks, and particularly with being part of the Vodafone Group. We're one of the leading telecommunications companies. We provide roaming services globally, and we'll be bringing those services to Ethiopia. So I think first off, I think like everyone, we wish that there's peaceful resolution to the conflict. I think that's the most important thing. I think we're, what we regularly talk to the government about is, what's happening, where are the areas in the country where it may be a challenge to go and invest in a network, because you need to go and build things, and also for our people to go into particular parts of the country, they need to be safe, because one of our key priorities, actually probably our first priority, is the safety of our people. So we regularly talk to the government about that, and that, as we all know, it evolves. There's times where in the last year there's been parts of the country where it's been safe to work, and there's been parts where that hasn't been. Yeah. So we regularly talk to the government about that, and in the areas that are safe, we're absolutely working now. So I think one of the important things is for Vodafone, Safaricom, Vodacom, Sumitomo and CDC, we're also used to operating in a whole set of different environments and different challenges, and so we've got a lot of experience of operating in these types of situations. So that helps us manage these things as well. And as I say, we're hopeful for peaceful, and then we're able to provide the services to all the country. I think it's the opportunity. I think we'll provide connectivity, we'll provide platforms for people to use, we'll provide products and services, and then and hopefully it's meeting what people are asking for, and then so some people will just use it to communicate. Some people will be using it for their businesses. So particularly with M-Pesa, it creates a whole ecosystem because it's payments between people. So we hope to enable people through our services to run their businesses, manage their affairs, keep connected with their loved ones, and help improve things like e-government services, etc., etc. So I think we want to really understand what Ethiopians would like, and then hopefully we can deliver. So for me personally, it's one of the most exciting parts of being here. So it is around the talent that I see in Ethiopia. So I believe there's really talented people in Ethiopia, and what we want to do is provide the opportunity for them. So far we're in the process of recruiting we've recruited 100 Ethiopians at different types of roles, some in technology, IT, some working for me in external affairs and regulatory, some working in HR, finance, etc., across the business. We'll be also, we made an announcement for graduates to apply, so we have 150 graduate roles that we'll be looking to recruit in the next month, and we had a lot of applications for that, and the plan is actually we're going to have 150 graduates each in the next 3 years joining us, and by commercial launch just this year we see around 1,000 employees working for us, but that doesn't include all the employees of the distribution network, etc., etc., who will be working with us. So job creation is a key part of why we're here, and also the opportunity. Firstly, I think the Ethiopian employees are critical to ensure that we're providing services and we understand the country for Ethiopians, because ultimately we are an Ethiopian company with Ethiopians serving Ethiopians. So that for me is critical. What people like myself, so I've worked for Vodafone for around 25 years, I've done lots of different roles. I've come here to help start up the company and work with the people, work with them in terms of what telecoms is, what our other services is, and work with our people, skills development, working with our development programs that we're putting in place for our people, because ultimately I'm just a guest in the country to help set up. I'm looking forward to sort of my success will be my successor and the team who will take the company going forward, who will be Ethiopians, and so that's our commitment to the people joining us. Is we want them, they're going to absolutely contribute to creating this amazing company in this country and servicing people, and so that's what I'm most excited about.